Hey, and welcome back. It has been a long time. I know. I've been a bad boy, I know. I was meaning to do this vlog to catch up actually months ago, like when I put up part 6 of the Fist of the North Star Retrospective. I just got, I got behind. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to begin this video with doing a few channel updates and a few, just kind of catching up on what happened in the past few months. So if you want to just see the part where I talk about Fist of the North Star, go to this time. I'm going to put it here on the screen. Go to that time, I'll start talking about Fist of the North Star. But first, a bunch of things to mention as far as my channel, what's been going on, why I'm so late. There's a good reason. The good reason is that I finally got the job that I've always wanted. I'm doing what I want to do now. You were looking at a full-time high school Japanese teacher. So I was really happy, really excited. It's not the dream job that I kind of imagined it would be, you know. But it's not like it's not good. It's exactly what I wanted to do. So now I'm doing it, but it's a very busy job. It's full-time, so it's really hard for me to update my channel. Of course, I'm going to keep trying. You know, if you know me, you've seen videos that I've made, you know that I have a tendency to take my time. And my channel is just kind of an acquired taste, so hopefully you like it. Hopefully when I actually do get around to making videos, the quality is good, and so hopefully you'll forgive. The last video that I made was, well, a couple of videos ago, I made a music video. And I liked it as far as like the production quality, except for one thing, which was the sound was just really bad. And it's not just the mic quality, it's just like my voice, you know. I liked everything else. I liked the music, I liked the images I put to it. It's just me. Like, I'm not a good rapper. It's like if I could have afforded a professional to come in and do it, that would have been better, but I just can't. So I was watching a video by Cringe Planet, and they had like some cringeworthy kids singing some like My Little Pony theme song.
There was my little pony, my little pony.
You know, and I was like, I listened to that and I was like, oh god, did I make something like that? Like, oh crap. You know? So hopefully it's not that bad. But one rule that I keep with my channel is that no matter how bad it is, I'm just gonna keep it. That's just how I feel. I don't think that I should, you know, I don't think that I should like take it down just because I'm embarrassed one time. Like even like one of the worst things that I made was one of my chess videos, my earliest chess video, has the most views on my channel. But I think it's one of the worst quality. So, you know, that's just kind of how it is. I'm going to leave it up, and I'm going to continue making more and hopefully get better. One thing that I did do, and I learned how to do during the making of that, was you'll notice I figured out how to like take an image and actually like, you know, make it scroll and make it move and like do effects with it. That was just out of the necessity of trying to make something more interesting. I started goofing around with it more, and I finally learned how to do that. So that was really good. That's going to make like future videos I do much better. Because I can use that technique. I could use like more techniques that I learned. I just need to, you know, I just need to tighten up a few things on my end. Other than that, another thing that you probably notice is video quality is hopefully better. That was because, you know, as soon as I got the job, my first paycheck, I went out and I got my son a Wii U, and I got myself a new video camera. So hopefully the mic should be all good. You know, the video quality should be all good, and moving forward, everything should be better. I felt bad because I left Crystallis hanging for a long time. The reason for that was because my computer crashed. This is it has to have been about almost a year ago. It crashed, and the software that I was using for video game captures, it just didn't work well after I reinstalled it. I don't know if I like tweaked with the settings or whatnot, but every single time I tried to capture a video on my screen, it just would not look good. I played the next episode, like I went ahead in Crystallis, and I did it about 3 or 4 times. And, you know, I'd do like an hour worth of footage, and it would all go on the cutting room floor because the video capture was just like terrible quality. So I went out and I got myself a capture card. So hopefully I can continue doing that, and I can continue just doing playthroughs in general, because for me they're a lot of fun, and that's what I want to do. I've had some little projects, I've had some videos that I've done in the meantime. Yeah, little projects that I've been doing with my son. You can see the characters in the background. He's now really into like a lot of old school games because of me, and we're having a lot of fun doing it together. So yeah, hopefully some of that shines through in the videos that I make. But aside from that, that's the state of my channel right now. I'm a busy man because I got my job, but I'm a happy guy. I'm exactly where I want to be. I'm doing exactly what I want to do. Videos will just come slowly. And as I said before, and as I said in several videos, my channel is an acquired taste. I'm not trying to be like a typical person on YouTube. I want to put things out as much as I can, as soon as I can, but if I don't, it just has to wait. So hopefully it doesn't drive you crazy. Hopefully the quality of what I make speaks for itself, or at least you know, my love of what I'm doing speaks for itself. So anyway, let's go ahead and talk about Fist of the North Star. So yeah, like a long time had passed because I was in this credentialing program before I got my teaching credential. That was like a year and a half that I was in that program, and during that, I had you know, it was when I was making the bulk of these videos. I had more free time back then, and what I had intended to do was do 4 episodes of Fist of the North Star Retrospective, then do a vlog, then do 2 more and do a vlog, do 2 more to finish it and to do a vlog. And that's exactly what I'm doing. It's just, again, it's been slowed production. But this is the vlog after part 6 of the retrospective. So if you really want to like follow along with what I'm saying, it's going to be following those 2. So you might want to watch them again if you haven't watched them for a while. Part 5 of the retrospective, that's where I finished off the last 3 movies of the Legends of the True Savior series. So I can kind of expand on them a little bit. As I've said before, I love all of them. I think they're all really great quality, and I was just really disappointed. It seemed like fans just either didn't care or didn't know about it. You know, like here in America, there are so few people that I know, you know, there are so few people that I know who are like fans who even knew that they existed. They just didn't sell that well. They didn't like sell a lot of movie theater tickets. They didn't sell that well on DVD. But it's disappointing to me because I think they're all really good quality. The interstitials, the Yuriaden and Toki Den, I like them, but I can understand why, if you're not a fan of Fist of the North Star, I can understand why it would be kind of anticlimactic, because they're not such good stories on their own. Whereas the 3 feature-length films, Junai no Sho, Gekito no Sho, and Kenshiro Den, those all 3 like stood, you know, by themselves as interesting movies. And my personal favorites are the 2 that are the Gekito no Sho and Junai no Sho, the 2 that are centered around Raoul. Those are my favorites, and I don't know, it's not only like the voice performance by Ukaji as Raoul. There's just so many like little details, you know. There's so many little details in each one that I just loved. Like for example, in Junai no Sho, Shu's son Shiva, I pointed this out in part 4 of the retrospective. I said there's a moment that's very subtle, and I showed the video footage and I said right there. And then what I was pointing out was Shiva was going to sacrifice himself to save Kenshiro. And then it goes to the sky, and if you're a fan of the series, you'll see that there's a star next to the Big Dipper, which means it's the Star of Death. So he's going to die. And it was just slipped in there, like, so well. You know, so subtly, not a whole lot of emphasis on, but it was there. And like that's the kind of thing that's just really, really cool. Like things like that are actually in there. I loved Gekito no Sho. I liked making all the little connections. As I said, I appointed myself, like the person who's going to do this retrospective because, I'm a Johnny-come-lately when it comes to the series, but there's a lot of things that I could see like living in Japan that I think that Americans wouldn't know. So there was a lot of connections I knew about that I think most people wouldn't, like Kakuda, Nobuaki Kakuda. I've seen him, as a referee in K1 for a long time. And I've seen him, like, just on so many Japanese TV shows. He's like an everyday kind of person. And I really, really admire the guy. He just seems like that kind of, like, like, straightforward, like, way of the warrior, like, mentality. He's just very honest and very direct and just a very likable guy. And he's truly, like, a strong guy. Like, I've seen him, like, I've seen him in matches, like, knocking guys out. So, he's really cool. And it was cool for me to discover that he was that much of a fan of Fist of the North Star that he actually named his son, Kenshiro, and he named his daughter Yuria. Not only that, but, all the people who said that they love Toki. I thought that was something very important to point out, that many people, many Japanese celebrities would say that Toki was their favorite. Because Toki is just like such a really good, well-beloved character. And, who specifically? There was this actress that said that she wanted to do the voice. That's one of the two Japanese celebrities that I've actually met. I actually taught her an English lesson. Her name is Yu. I guess her real name is Yukiko. At least that's what it was like when I was teaching her a lesson. And it was funny because, like, around that time, there was this woman on, like, Japanese TV shows. And she was, like, a little bit older, like, in her, like, late 30s, early 40s, but I thought, wow, she's really cute. I thought she was really attractive. And I didn't realize until about maybe 10 minutes towards the end of the lesson, I was like, you know what, I think this is that woman. And then I saw again, like a video of her just like talking on something. I was like, that's definitely the person that I saw. So that was pretty cool. Of course, I didn't talk to her about Fist of the North Star or anything. But yeah, she liked Toki. Lots of people like Toki. Ukaji likes Toki. I thought that was just really cool to point out. And there's more things that I have coming. There's a Batsu game scene. I'll probably show at the end of this video, just because it's really funny. Where like they have Crystal King come on, and Crystal King like actually plays the theme song to Fist of the North Star. And that kind of showed me that, yeah, it's pretty well known by pretty much everybody in Japan. So yeah, I like Gekito no Sho. The next one was Tokiden. I love some scenes in the movie, but overall, being objective, it just wasn't that good of a movie because it doesn't build up to anything, right? It's just like telling this interstitial story that doesn't really have like a big climax of its own. So I like it, and I think that you, if you're a big fan of the series, I think that you'd like it. But if not, if you're just like getting into it, after, like a long time, it might not be your cup of tea. And then finally, Kenshiro Den. That was the only one that told like an original story. And there was a lot of things that I liked about it. There was a lot of surprises. There were some characters who you think they're just going to be like fist fodder for Ken. They're going to be bad guys, and they turn out to be good guys, right? Or one thing that I really, really liked, there was a theme, and I mentioned this in the video. There was a theme that, like, okay, it's going to be like off topic, but for me personally, okay, growing up, playing, as you can see, I've got a big love for Final Fantasy, right? For me, Final Fantasy's downfall came when it just started to be, you started doing things that are so fantastical that you lose your footing on solid ground. So what I mean is, like, it just became routine from like number 7 onwards to just like slaughter soldiers, right? you just like slaughtering, like if they're enemy soldiers, you could just kill them by the truckload and not care about it or not think about it. And I think that like some of us were actually kind of like looking around like, are we really good guys doing this? There's a lot of anime characters who just because the audience wants to see blood and violence, they'll just go out and kill with no thought to is it good? And Kenshiro is like the best example of that. Is he a good guy? Now I think that it shines through that he is a very good guy because he's living in a very violent time. But I like the fact that Kenshiro Den actually like built up to that in a very good way. They actually had this guy, this older man, who was kind of like a wise person, like speaking to Kenshiro about it, like frankly, and he's like, you let that bear killer go, and all he's going to do is he's just going to go out and like kill more people. Are you being a good person by doing that? It kind of hits onto like if you think of the whole conversation between Batman Joker, like in American comics, Batman Joker, Batman always has to like save him and rescue him and put him in an asylum, and it just seems like there's something brainless about that. Batman really should kill him by all rights. Should kill him a million times over because all he does is get out and then just like cause havoc and kill a bunch. Now, realistically, the reason he does that is because, the company needs to tell stories, to sell the Batman character. But, in some realistic sense, it's like, why would you keep just doing that? Just arresting this person who's just over the edge, over any edge you could possibly find, and he'll just get out and start killing people, And I like the fact that Kenshiro Den actually, like, talked about that in a mature kind of way. I like that. And then also there was another, speaking of subtle touches, during the fight between Kenshiro and the Bear Killer, there's this really, really cool, it's like a little tiny piece of animation that just really, like, I love it. It's such a small, subtle piece. It's when Kenshiro, like, kicks the Bear Killer, knocks him out, and then when his head actually goes down and hits the canvas, really realistic kind of like bounce off the canvas. It's like dirt ground, but the reason I say canvas, of course, is because I'm thinking about it like like all the fights that I've seen, like boxing and kickboxing and all that, and I've seen people who brutally their head would fall and like bounce off the canvas, and the animation to that just it had a really realistic touch to it. I've seen that many times, so. Yeah, they're all good. I wanted to show you this. This is what I bought. Pretty good look at that. This, I ordered this on eBay. This was from Malaysia. And what it is it was like too good to be true. What's contained in this little thing is every single episode of Series 1 and all 6 movies. So when I say 6, I mean the 5 from Legends of the True Savior series, and I mean the one, I think it was 1984, just the 84 normal movie, the standalone. It has all of that, right? Yeah, New Fist of the North Star. Yeah, so this has all of that. And I'm just like flipping through like all the discs. It has all of that, then it has the movies. It's just, and it was $50. $50. That's all it took. I was like, is this, this is like too good to be true. Whatever it is, somebody in Malaysia, they got the rights to, to make the DVDs, and now I would really recommend these. If these are still available, pick it up. If you really like the series, pick it up. The translations are kind of funny. I downloaded from some other website more, I think like English to English translation. I think that because these are Malaysian, there was like a Malaysian person translating it into English from Japanese, so the translation is not that great. But I mean, you could understand, Sorry, the kids in the neighborhood are acting up. But you can understand. It's not, it's not like, you see a funny translation, you don't get what's going on. You can still get it. So I'd totally recommend that if you're a fan. So that's essentially what I wanted to say about part 5 of my retrospective. Part 6, man, I got so many things to say about it. So yeah, it was in production hell for this long time, right? I wanted to get it out as soon as I can, but it just like delay after delay. And I put so much information in it that I really, really wanted to show. And for those fortunate few who actually saw it before it got the copyright strike, then you've seen, like, you know, all the things that I wanted to show. All the jokes and all the pieces from, like, the episodes. And that was really the best version, but I can't play it. So if you know what it is, then you'll see when when you go through part 6 of the retrospective, you'll see which parts had to get cut out, and they necessarily need to. But I'll say this, like, there was a couple of concessions I had to make, but overall, pretty much what I wanted is in there. So, I mean, there's a couple of like jokes that I really wish could have been in there, and I wish I could have like included the long version of it. But you see essentially what I want you to see. So, those 3 series, Sultan Token, and then our Fist of the Blue Sky, Legends of the Dark King, and DD Hoka Thumb. As far as what I think about those 3, Sultan Token, I hated to say this, and I said it in the retrospective. You can just see the quality going down, and I hated to see that. I really think that Bronson was more of like a hard-nosed guy. I've only seen a few interviews with him, so I don't really know his personality that well. But it just seems to me like because again, he used to be a soldier. Like, he used to actually be in the Japan Self-Defense Force. So I think that he's more of a stern person, whereas Tetsuo Hara, he is, he's a manga writer, so I think that his head is in the clouds in certain ways. And he obviously loves history. He obviously loves Chinese history. I hope that's not too distracting. So obviously he loves history, but that didn't necessarily translate very well to, making Sultan Token. It just felt like there was a brainlessness to it, like a certain kind of like paint by the numbers attitude, which unfortunately is kind of common amongst like Japanese like anime. That's why a lot of it looks exactly the same. Like, no matter who draws it, it looks very, very similar. So I didn't like to see that, but it's not overall like a total wash. There are some things that I liked about it. There were some visuals that were nice. There were some elements of the story that were okay, but in an overall sense, it was just really bad. And it didn't live up to the original series. The original series has this undeniable heart to it, and I think that Bronson was a stabilizing force. Tetsuo Hara, just on his own, he comes up with some goofy ideas. Now, when I was talking about things going through the production hell, what I mean is, like, I had this idea, I had all these ideas in my head for a long time. Like, they stewed for a long time. And then I got the script written, and then it was a long time before I sat down and like put the images to it. And between all that, I sometimes get this feeling like I hope what I'm trying to say comes through well, but I don't know if it does. Like, sometimes I'm kind of doubtful. Like, did you get what I was trying to say? So, for example, like in that part of the retrospective, there was a part where I used like cooking as an analogy, and I said like Sultan Token is kind of like a steak, a meaty martial arts action movie wrapped up in chocolate sprinkles, like silliness mixed in with seriousness, and that's why, it tastes funny. And I hope that came through well. I don't know if it came out to be like a hokey analogy. I know that a friend of mine was saying back in part 4 of the retrospective, something that was similar was like I used an analogy. Part 4, it was about Jun Ainosho. So Kenshiro was fighting Souther. And in that story, there's a part that I really consider a plot hole, but it's just like a normal part of the series. What it is the part where like Kenshiro fights Souther, and apparently he can't hurt him, right? Because if you know, like, Hokuto Shinken, you press these, like, pressure points in the body, and it makes you explode or whatever. And then I said, that would be like saying, somebody says, you're attacking somebody with an unconventional weapon, like a toilet plunger, right? And imagine the person just sits back and just, like, lets you hit him and says, ha ha ha, your toilet plunger style cannot hurt me. It doesn't make sense, It's like, Kenshiro uses those pressure points, but he also punches and kicks, and it's not like those things don't hurt you. And in the same way, even if, plunger style is not conventional weaponry, if you get hit in the face with a plunger, it's gonna hurt, Like, the same thing. Like, I just thought it was a plot hole that, like, Kenshiro can't beat him at all. But at the same time, it was a good plot point. Like, even if it's a plot hole, it's interesting because, there's a reason that he can't hurt him, and, he figures it out. And overall, it works really well in its own little universe. It's just that, logically speaking, it's kind of weird, right? So what happens is I'll have ideas like that or things that I want to explain, and I'm just sometimes wondering, like, I hope what I wanted to say came out, the way I wanted it to. So anyway, that's what I felt about Sultan Token. Some things were good, some things not so much. The next one, Legends of the Dark King, that's really, really cool. Like, there was a minimalistic style, but it just worked really well. It worked on the small scale that it should have. Like, I don't like the art as much, and I'm not like trying to bag on it. Like, it was good for what it was, but it's a little bit too minimalistic for me. But the heart was there, and pushing new boundaries with old standards, that was there, That was really, really good. They took like fighting styles and they improved upon it and they made it better. They were serious about the action. Some of the fights that were in, like, Sultan Token, I was like, are you serious? Like, this is the fight? He kicks a bunch of knives and forks and, like, hits, like, knives and forks at people? Like, okay. It used to be so much better than that, Like, you think you'd take it to the next level. And in Legends of the Dark King, they did. They really, like, brought fights to the next level. There was, like, all kinds of really cool ways to fight. And again, I mentioned this before, Takashi Ukaji, the guy who voices Raoul, his Japanese is so... It's a thing of beauty. Like, I know that might sound funny, but really, like, a lot of the ways he speaks, I just find it so great. Like, as a student of Japanese, I love his archaic sounding Japanese, and he does it so believably well. I've played examples like in the show. If you're a student of Japanese, one thing it took me a long time to learn was the phrase wa ga. Like, if you're a student of Japanese, you know the word watashi means I, and then, watashi no book, watashi no shatsu, watashi no something something. But it's a very common thing to say wa ga. So he would say, like, waga na, which means my name, or waga hokuto shinken, which means my hokuto shinken. But the way he says it, like, in context really well, it just sounds really, really great. Like, for me as a student of Japanese, I thought it sounded really cool. So that, there was also the music. I love that kind of, like, really inspiring, like, moving, bouncing music. Like, that was really cool. Yeah, like, I don't really have bad things to say about it. It tied up exactly what I wanted it to. I really, really wanted to see the fight between Souther and Raoul. And that both of them are going to survive, but it's still a cool fight. So, moving on. Next, we want to talk about the one thing that I just loved so much. If you don't have it, you got to get out and you got to see DD Hokuto no Ken. So, DD Hokuto no Ken, like I said, there was the two. There was the flash animation and there was the standard. The flash animation had the advantage of looking really pretty. Like, it looks really good. I wish that they could have kept that style of animation for the standard series. The standard, sometimes it looks so bad. Like, yeah, especially the fights. Like, it just looks like a person, like, scribbling, you know? It looks bad, but at the same time, the writing is so damn good. Like, the writing is so funny. It's so in style to Hokuto no Ken, and always, like, you know, like, irreverently, like, you know, tweaking its nose. It's so brilliant. Like, what it reminds me of is, it reminds me of a show that, you know, it might be, like, old generation to some people now, but Space Ghost, Coast to Coast. That kind of really weird writing, that spirit is finally carried on. Like, I haven't seen that spirit for a long time, and finally it came back in DD Hokuto no Ken. It's so good. I don't know. It's hard to, you know, to go on more about how much I love it. It was really good. The jokes, as I pointed out, they're totally apropos. They're totally, you know, in keeping to the normal, you know, like Fist of the North Star standard. They're so obscure. Obviously, the people who are doing it really love it, and it's just great. You know, like TV Tokyo. I don't hold any grudges against you. I still love you. I bought it. I encourage people, pay money for it. Buy this DVD, DD Hokuto no Ken. It's really, really good. Yeah. I want to mention specifics, but I would just be here for hours talking about how this joke was so funny and apropos, and, you know, like, the ones that struck me are the ones that I put in the series. Like, you know, Souther's joke about, you know, like, I won't back down, I won't retreat, I won't, you know, like, beg. And then, like, the guy saying in Japanese, like, he begged, he retreated, you know, he did this. That was just, it was so funny. And, like, the obscure lines, I don't think that I would have caught them seriously if I wasn't doing this retrospective. If I wasn't doing the retrospective, I don't think that I would have caught some of the things that, like, passed through it. Like the line about, you know, you, like, if you don't fight, you'll never stop shaking. You know, like, that was in both the original and in the new parody. I don't think I would have caught that unless I was doing this retrospective and, like, seeing those lines, you know, like, fairly in a short time. And I wonder, like, how many even fans would have picked that up, so. Yeah, I love it. I recommend it. Again, if you're a fan, buy at least these two things. This is about $20. And I think by now, Series 2, DD Hokuto no Ken, would seem to even get better. And again, this one from Malaysia, if you can buy it. I've also got these, Shin Hokuto no Ken, which were really good, but again, it's all your preference. They're still available. Please go out and buy them. TV Tokyo, no grudges held, but you screwed me over. Anyway, I'm going to leave you right now. I'm going to leave you with two impressions. I'm going to do an impression of Kenshiro saying, you were already dead. And I'm going to do two of them. I'm going to do the original, Akira Kamiya, and then I'm going to do the new one, Hiroshi Abe. Okay, thanks for watching. Mite kurete arigatou gozaimasu. お前はもう死んでいる。お前はもう死んでいる。お前はもう死んでいる。お前はもう死んでいる。
それでは歌っていただきましょう。クリスタル吉信キングで愛を取り戻せ。You are shocked 愛で空が落ちてくる
塞いで繋いでも今は無駄だよ邪魔するやつは指先一つでダウンサ
全然出てないやんも
ありがとうございました。
痛い痛い。